Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law, love under will.
Welcome to second mod Oasis Qabalah 101 class. I'm Frater Audeo, and this is Soror, Luz-y. As everyone here knows already. Today, we're going to be going over the 29th path. Oh yeah, a couple of technicalities first. If you're not a dues paying member, donation would be greatly appreciated. $5 to $10 if you can. Again, the class is free, but a donation is appreciated because it allows us to continue these events and online, as well as the outside events that are going on currently now too. And like I say, every week or every time we do a class, we're still paying rent. We're still have money going out and not a lot of money coming in, just kind of the nature of the beast during COVID. But we're happy to do this. And if you would like to make that donation, go to www.pdxoto.org. And thank you. And I hope you enjoy the presentation. And there we go. All right, so today we're going over the 29th path, the corporeal intelligence. This links Netzach and Melkuth, the 10th sphere and the 7th sphere. It is the first time we enter onto the pillar of mildness, which is odd because Netzach is actually a fiery sphere, and the first step onto the pillar of severity is going into a watery sphere, kind of counterintuitive, and it's kind of counterintuitive like that for multiple reasons that kind of become clearer as you go. The corporeal intelligence, if you look up what corporeal means, it means pertaining to the body, as opposed to pertaining to spirit. The 29th path, the one-liner from the Sefer Yetzirah is, the 29th path is the corporeal intelligence, so called because it forms every body which is formed in all the worlds and the reproduction of them. So it's not forms everybody, it's forms every body which is formed in all the worlds. So if you take that just at the base words, it sure sounds like they're talking about procreation, is one of the obvious parts of that, or regeneration. And that is what I believe they're getting at. The corporeal intelligence is often, again, we talking about self-consciousness and subconscious natures. The moon card, just like the sphere of the moon, Yesod, happens to do with subconsciousness. It has to do with the autonomic nervous system, the things below the level of our conscious control. And that, I believe, is what they're getting at with that one-liner, because it's which is formed in all the worlds and the reproduction of them. It's what continually regenerates the body. It does all of those functions which we would fall down into a gelatinous mess if those things weren't happening without the calcium being told to create calcium and harden our bones, and for our muscles to stay taut when they're supposed to stay taut, or loose when they're supposed to flex. All of those things are not under our conscious control per se. There are things we can do to learn to control those aspects, but in general, those all happen below the level of our conscious mind. And that is what the corporeal intelligence is doing, and it's regulating. The sexuality aspect of it, the procreative action, how does that fit in? Well, I kind of think about it like, for, growing up, you didn't really know where the babies came from. You kind of know the act.
Did we lose you guys?
Action that create and directive and so powerful that it is it's the many the many vast and amazing things about consciousness, all of the things that occur below our level of consciousness. Sleep is very much associated with the moon key. And there again, what happens during sleep? Sleep is when we heal. Our body does almost 95% of its healing when we're resting, when we're at sleep mode. People get put into comas purposely in order for them to heal. So their conscious mind's not up, moving, acting. They're put to sleep on purpose for that amazing experience that happens only when we're sleeping. So that aspect is amazing, and it just, that's when all the little busybodies within our body go to work and start repairing, start taking this and moving it over here and building this and breaking down this. It just amazes me that that the body even does that, and B, that people could actually deduce and figure all of this stuff out long before the invention of the modern scientific practice. Like the lion and the serpent being the semen, like how they knew that it would even look anything similar to that is just beyond me. And this is no different. The letter Qoph is up on the screen between the two spheres. It indicates the back of the head, and at the back of the head, what do we have? We have our medulla oblongata. I mean, and they posted all of this stuff long before we knew that that part of the brain is what controls all of these functions, that does our fight or flight. It's our reptilian brain, supposedly our oldest part of our brain. It's the one that it provides us the ability to thrive and stay alive. It's the one that slows down our consciousness if we're under attack, or if we need to react quickly. It shuts down all of the things we don't need. We're no longer digesting food. We're no longer thinking extremely clear, which is positive or negative, but it pushes all of our blood to our extremities so our muscles can react. All of our things we can function better. We can, I brought up the consciousness slowing down. Like when, I don't know, I'm sure most of us have all gotten into a scary situation to where, like one time I rolled a car 4 times and it was the wildest experience because it just went super slow. It just kind of went, and I was like, holy shit, here I go. And I could remember hitting, bam, and then spinning, and then hitting and spinning and hitting and spinning. But it's those things that it's completely slowed down. So it allowed me to hold on for as much as I could. It allows you that moment in time to react or respond in a different way that you're not necessarily going to if you didn't have that aspect of your brain kicking in and simplifying things. It's like it knocks it down to its simplest level. You don't need to think about, oh shit, there's a cat over there, there's a this over here, there's this. No, the only thing that matters is you're fucking spinning and you need to hold on, and you're going, or you were falling, or you're doing something. It's that survival instinct, that drive to stay alive that kicks in. And there's some negative aspects of that. It is instinctual. It is me, mine. It's kind of that mentality. It's very simple. It can be very aggressive. It's the thing, like I said, it keeps us alive. And that they were able to kind of associate all of those things and put it in the back of the head, and then come to find out, wow, there's a little ball of darker matter than all of the other white matter that's right at the top of the brainstem that is at the back of your head. Pretty cool. And even the shape of it, of the Qoph, is kind of indicative of the way it looks. It might, you kind of have to spin it 180, but still it's there. It's on top of a straight line and kind of aiming a different direction, but nonetheless, the base idea is there. And I just think that's amazing. I'm always impressed by the ancients, that all of the wisdom they knew and the things they figured out simply by watching, simply by observing nature, and how we interact with that nature around us. Pretty amazing. I mean, they didn't have all the distractions we do. They don't have TVs. They didn't have radios to, kind of distract us. They had consciousness games. They had time to sit and watch the cycles, time to see what happens when a specific body of light is in the sky at a certain time. Not even giving complete credibility to the next aspect of this, of like astrology, and thinking that it's actually that body that has anything to do with the different personality types or the different traits. But for whatever reason, certain things adjust when that body is up there in the sky. And who knows if that's the reasoning for it, but it is observable and something that is repeatable, and it's been repeated. And if you sit and watch things for long enough, that happens. You notice patterns, you notice similarities and differences. Pisces is the astrological sign associated with this card, with the moon key. Pisces is a water sign. It is mutable. It is supposedly a very psychic, like a lot of Pisces have a lot of psychic abilities. And I think that happens to do with that relationship with that subconscious mind. I think that we all have that ability, but they're more in tune with their subconsciousness, therefore getting a clearer signal of that, of those observations that are occurring below our level of consciousness. But it kind of takes the miraculousness away from it just by realizing the fact that it's just matters of perception and matters of responding to different stimuluses, whether they're at our conscious level or below our conscious level. I think they just have that perception that's slightly lower than the consciousness. So lower than self-consciousness. No.
If I can interject something here real quick.
Please do.
I just had a thought. A couple of moments ago, you were talking about, the cycles and the patterns and recognizing those patterns, which truly you can only do if you are in the moment. You can't see these patterns if you're consumed with, what happened yesterday, or you're consumed with what's going to happen tomorrow. It's being in the moment where you see these things. And when you look at magic, when you look at the practice of the magician, it is ceremony, ritual, all that stuff that we do is designed to bring us into the moment. And so it's really key, that ability to identify those patterns and things. It's key to the job of the magician, as I see it, because a lot of the times what we cause to happen, what appears to be, if you don't have any context or anything, it's like magic, is really oftentimes the magician seeing the pattern.
So I'm gonna make them a little.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Its ability to see those patterns and react to them.
Sorry. I'm sorry. 1 second. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry, did you hear any of that?
Yeah, you right about the patterns and being able to react to it.
It just.
That was right about it. So just a couple of about 30 seconds back, if you would.
Okay. So basically, yeah, I'm basically saying a lot of what the magician does to create, to create magic, literally create magic in their life, is simply, when you really get down to it on a subconscious level, you're picking up patterns, you're identifying what's going to happen before it happens. I call it Jedi reflexes. You respond just that much quicker, and or you identify something and you put yourself in that right place, and you only do that by being in the moment. And so those were my thoughts on that.
No, I appreciate it, and like I think that really supports a lot of what I was
Absolutely.
trying to say about the fact that noticing those things doesn't noticing those cycles and noticing those patterns, or even the subtle things going on in our world, can make someone appear like they are so-called psychic, but they're actually picking up those things that not everybody's perceiving, and they're making a quicker leaps to things that and all psyche means, or psychic means, really is of the psyche. So it's really anything that we think about actually is psychic. So as well, but nonetheless, I guess I'm rambling on that aspect a little bit, but I appreciate what you said about that, Steve. Let's see.
You can go on. There's some people in chat saying audio is not working very well, so I'm just gonna.
So is everybody hearing me now, or is there audio issues?
We got thumbs.
Okay.
That was from earlier. You're fine now.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. I just wanted to make sure everyone could hear. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Running the chat over here, so
Sorry about
trying to stay updated and make sure everybody can hear. Sometimes our internet connection out here fades in and out, so it's very possible that
it's on our end.
we could be lagging. Psychic abilities. Now we'll just start kind of going over some of the attributions. I always like to go over the color scale, and I don't know if anybody ever understands why I go over that all the time, because that's the way we can interact with this energy, right down from the King's scale all the way down to the mundane world, from Absolute to Audeo. There's patterns of color represented, and those are the ways to access that specific energy. So in Absolute, the color is crimson or ultraviolet. In Bria, it's buff, flecked, silver white. In Yetzirah, which is light translucent, pinkish brown, pinkish brown. And then in Audeo, it's stone color.
Can I say something? Isn't there a quote about how when you're corresponding with these energies, the symbols are living and the living things are symbols? Is that? how that is?
When you're scrying
When you're
usually,
scrying? Okay.
and when you're when we're like doing path workings or what, that is a statement that is said during that all symbols are actually the things that are alive, and all of your living things are actually symbols of something else in your life, which is a kind of cool and kind of interesting in itself. Right, a couple of the gods, Egyptian gods is Khepra, and you can see Khepra on the base of the card, which is represented by the beetle pushing the sun disk across the sky. The idea was that Khepra pushes the sun going across, rolls it like a dung ball across the sky every day. Khepra is also the deity we acknowledge during our adorations at midnight. It's a darker aspect of Ra, the sun god, which we do in the morning. Hindu god is Vishnu. Greek is Poseidon, and Roman is Neptune. Notice now that we're getting back to the water and staying in the water gods area. So it fits the watery nature of Pisces and also of consciousness, and specifically subconsciousness being represented by water, that which flows or doesn't and is blocked by something, and we learn to get it to flow, and again to have that connection. The animals specific to this path are the fish and the dolphin. Uniquely, the and Janus is also, or Janus is also a ancient Sumerian god that is associated with this as well. The fish and the dolphin, thinking about that as well, if we think about the fact that it's procreative, they say that the dolphins are very prolific in that arena and very playful. Fish also multiply really quick, so they also they procreate, so that's that procreative action. And I think the dolphin gets thrown in there for their love of that procreation act, the procreative act. The narcotics are the drugs associated with this path. There again, it's the things that knock you down into that lower realm of consciousness. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it is when you're knocked to a different level while using narcotics. You enter more into a subconscious realm, a realm where the things bend, where the things have a little bit more fluid, a little bit more also a little bit more controlled, like a controlling nature. Narcotics are extremely addictive. And it fits with that subconscious aspect of this card or this path, because it's those habitual things, those things that, whether it be a drug or whatever, it's those habitual things that control us that we need to overcome and we need to work with. So the drug associated with it is fitting to be a narcotic, because it's something that you would need to deal with in order to move past it, in order to claim the victory. The two sphere, Melkuth and Netzach, the kingdom and the sphere of Netzach is called, it's translated as victory. So kingdom and victory. And it's the physical plane, and it's our intellectual plane that is of a desire nature, of a fiery, a driven and aspiring nature, is what Netzach is. So it's that balance between having a firm grasp on what's material and what you can control, and then stepping into what you desire and what you aspire to. And shockingly enough, it always goes back to that aspect of consciousness that is below our level of consciousness, that subconscious nature, that it allows us to travel that path. The magical powers associated with it are bewitchments or casting illusions. Oftentimes, that water, when water reflects, it can be distorted. It can be not quite the same. Think about going into the fun house of mirrors, where every mirror you go to, one's big, one's tall, you know, but you're the same person going to that in front of that mirror, and yet what you have looking back at you is not what you think you look like. And then you look at another one and that one's a little different. I think that's a good example of a reflective nature casting a form of an illusion. Bewitchments, specifically, you know, I'm never been one versed in like cursing or wanting any desire to have any knowledge of that. So I can't really talk a whole heck of a lot on that one. But they're there, and there is a, you know, there's certainly people out there that utilize them. And that's kind of bullshit too, because the bewitchments can happen in our own mind with those limiting beliefs, those the stories we tell ourselves, the way I'm not good enough, I don't know, I'm too stupid, I just fucked up, I did this. Well, the more we say that shit, the more we imprint that program onto our mind. That's a bewitchment. We're doing a bewitchment to ourselves. It's amazing the power of the mind and the program. So, and we can cast that illusion even to ourselves. We can make ourselves believe that we're not worthy, that we can, you know, and give it a list of reasons why we're not worthy. We can do all of these things, and cast spells on ourselves or bewitchments, basically creating a level of dis-ease or disharmony within our vehicle or the world around us, simply by not being in charge of the programs we have running, not being in a level of conscious control, literally, of our operating system, of the way our corporeal intelligence goes to work. We give it that instruction. We give it those marching orders every day, by what we focus on, what we say to ourselves, and what we say to others, and what we don't even know what we're calling to ourselves on a daily basis because of not having that knowledge. But once you have that knowledge, you can begin to learn to control those parts of ourselves and start giving them correct marching orders that, you know, sure, you did just fuck up, but you know what? If you weren't trying, you wouldn't have fucked up. And all you need to do is pick up your mess, clean it up, and give it a better shot. You know, give it another try, take another stab at it, you know, and don't beat yourself up for your mistakes along the path, because the best way we learn is from mistakes. And the biggest mistake is thinking that we have no control over the way we talk to ourselves or the way we feel about ourselves, more specifically.
Yeah, well, I really like that, the bewitchment aspect of not having positive self-image, or and just that programming aspect is like a really big part of what I faced in my own self. And like I realized that I had like a very heavy depression and was not able to like work through it very well until I realized my programming was so negative towards myself that um, that I wouldn't even talk to another human being that way. And if you think about it that way, like, would you say this about someone that you cared about? Would you say this about someone that you loved? And kind of help you reframe your mind to be able to adjust that programming, because it's really hard to even recognize. I had to, like, for a long time, for almost 6 months, had to say out loud the things that I thought about myself that were shitty, and correct myself out loud so that I could hear myself, my subconscious could hear me, you know, saying like, that's not right. You shouldn't be talking about yourself that way. And, you know, this isn't worth that kind of a self-talk attitude, to where I'm just beating myself up constantly. And it really helped. It really helped a lot to really just kind of change my perspective on my life and my situation, and really helped me to kind of get out of that, what I feel is like the deep hole of like everything's gone to shit, you know, when it really isn't that bad, but you have like bombarded yourself with these programs and bewitchments even, that you feel that way. And so I find it very interesting. And I have been doing some path working with the moon and the moon card. And it's really about balance and finding that balance within yourself, and also just learning to embrace these things, these energies, like all the Sephiroth and all the paths. They all have a specific purpose and a reason. And I feel like when I embrace it, when I embrace these energies, I feel less afraid. I feel like I have more purpose. I feel like I can see a direction for where I want to go with my magical practice. And it's really been helping me to develop that. So, you know, when sometimes if there's like you're kind of, I feel like there's certain things on the tree that kind of make me go like, I don't want to. But if I lean into it, and if I, you know, come at it with respect, and I come at it trying to understand it with love, kind of like in the wake world when you kiss your fairy prince, you know, you come at it with love and respect and trying to acknowledge that. I feel like you get to have more control over that kind of energy in your life, especially if you're feeling really overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, thanks. And what she's referring to, we've done in previous classes, which is a meditation called the way. It's really a path working of where you go all the way up through the tree, all in one sitting, and it's really powerful. Alistair Crowley wrote that and put it in. Is it the Book of Lives, Steve? Or no, it's Kong Som Pax. I think that it's in, actually. So. And if you haven't had that experience, and also you can find it
on the podcast.
Podcast Speech in the Silence, and David Shoemaker reads it to you. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. And just to sit, it's easy. You don't have to record it or read it, you know, have somebody read it to you. You can just go hit the play button. It's already there. And it's really cool. It's all about going up to the tree, and they're unique, and everybody's path workings are slightly different. They're all kind of come from a different bent, and his is no different. It's really interesting what he describes as the paths and how they are symbolized to him are really amazing. And Crowley's, his imagery is really good. When he decides to explain something like visually, it's awesome. You know, a lot of times he's kind of, you know, if you read Liber O or Liber O, it's really dry and really to the point, and not any visuals. But if you read like Liber Samek, where you get all kinds, or what is the one for either way? But there's another one that talks about it's a different version of Liber Sumic, but you invoke a specific deity for a while. What is it? Anyways, getting sidetracked. Can't think of it right now. Sorry. If it comes to me by the end, I'll bring it up again. But he explains it in such vivid detail that it's almost impossible not to form a picture while you're reading, or not to form a picture while you're having any part of understanding of it. So that basically is going to wrap up today's kind of the correspondence part, and we're going to jump right into the path working. Today, I still want to do I think that Apopantos Kakadaimenos, how did that work for people? Did they appreciate it, like it, or had no effect? Now is the time to let me know that, if you would want to do it again or not.
Let's go ahead
I
and do
thought,
it.
I thought it was good. I'd never done it before, but I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
I think,
Cool.
I think
Yeah, and I think it's just best to do anyways. Brandon brought this up a few classes back, that we weren't actually doing any form of banishment. I was like, oh yeah, you're right, most definitely. So I'll be trying to do that today. So we'll again do a Kabbalistic cross, which is as simple as like the Ata Melkuth. Ata Iwas, actually, Melkuth, Vegabura, Vegadula, Leolam, Amen, which is, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. People may have heard that somewhere else before. And there it goes to the idea that masters of the past very well could have been Kabbalists. That is, and then we will do after we're done with that, and I'll do it slowly, and I'll vibrate, and I will explain, and everybody please do it along with me. And then we'll do the Apopantos Kakadaimenos, and that is from, we put our finger to our lips, doing the sign of silence, and then we swing our hand down and step slightly back with the right foot and throw that out. And it simply means leave me, or away unclean spirits is what that translates to. It's a Greek term, and that's all it means. Feel free to use any phrasing you like, but that's why we use that. It's Apopantos Kakadaimenos. And again, Ata, Iwas, Melkuth, Vegabura, Vegadula, Leolam, Amen. So we'll go ahead and do that, right? So first visualize a bright sphere of brilliant white light above your head. Feel it tingling the top of your head. Feel that spark of light coming down your body and kind of giving little inspirations of energy. Acknowledge that as the highest aspect of yourself, that which is the perfect you, the most magical you, that part of you that is the all, that part of you that connects us all. It's reach up into that ball of light and bring just a little bit down right into the front of your forehead, and let that light grow brighter and brighter as you vibrate. Now bring that light, let that light descend into the center of your chest and vibrate Iwas. that light descend down to your feet. Vibrate Melkuth. Melkuth. Now let that light pool at the chest and bring it out to the right. Touch the right shoulder and vibrate Ve Gebura. Ve Gebura. Now letting it pool in the center of the chest again, draw it out to the left shoulder. Touching the shoulder, vibrate Ve Gedula. Ve Gedula. Now, clasping your fingers at your breast, vibrate Leolam Amen. Leolam Amen. Now, do the sign of silence. And this sign symbolizes the sealing of our aura, that sealing of that charge that we just brought down from that, which is us, the Most High, and brings it down into our physical form, sealing that energy within us. Sit for a moment. And feel that revitalization. Now focus and direct that energy to the tip of your finger. And throw back with your right hand down towards your right foot and step back slightly and yell, Apopontos Kakadaimenos. Apopontos Kakadaimenos. Finish with one more sign of silence, which symbolizes that gathering of yourself again, that's coming back into this realm in this present consciousness. So they're on the screen, the talisman, that's the symbol of Pisces. You'll be asked to show that during part of the path working. And I believe that is all that that we need to go, or that I need to give prior instruction about. So first off, if we can just sit quietly, take in a few cleansing breaths, I call them. So breathe in deeply as you can, taking that breath down into the belly, and let out a sighing sound. Another deep breath in. With each breath, let the body become relaxed. Let the mind focus on right now. Become that magician, that point of focus. It's not worried about what you're eating here in a little bit or what you just ate. It's only focused on the now, not what you said wrong or what you said right. Just be with your breath for a few moments. Watch the breath go in and go out. Begin to breathe in a count of 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Stay empty for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Stay empty for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Stay empty for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Stay empty for 4. Now allow your breath to return to its own normal pace. Simply watch the breath. The breath comes in. The breath goes out. The breath goes in. The breath goes out. Do this silently for a few moments, allowing your body to regulate itself to step below that level of consciousness that we spend all day in. Have that experience with the moon card. The 29th path of the corporeal intelligence. The more relaxed we become, the better the workers will be. Find yourself in the temple of Malkuth. See the stone black and white tiles, the central altar, the gateways going out of Shin, of Kuf, of Tav. 3 portals leaving the temple of Malkuth. We call forth the inhabitants of the temple of Malkuth. Adonai Hararet. The archangel, Sandalphon. Sandalphon. And the Yashin. Oshin. Sandalphon appears as in your previous journeys, and you exchange the usual signs. The sign of the enter, and followed by the sign of silence. She asks, "Why have you came to the bridal chamber of Qabalah, in the realm of the active world?" Showing her the symbol of Pisces, the archangel sees this and leads you to the red-violet archway in the southeast of the temple. On the keystone of the arch is the letter Kuf in brilliant white. Within the arch is a curtain on which is painted the tarot card of the moon. Sandalphon traces the symbol of Pisces, and the veil fades into a mist. In its place is a door carved from mother of pearl on which the Hebrew letter Qoph in red violet is. Holding out the symbol, you trace the letter Qoph on the door. The door disappears. With firm resolve, you step out onto the 29th path. You find yourself walking along a great sandy river delta, where the Tigris and the Euphrates River flow into the blue expanse of the Persian Gulf. The blue-green waters of the Gulf gently caress the shoreline. As the morning suns ascend just above the waters to the east, two seagulls swoop by your head, almost diving into the water, only to ascend the winds at the last moment as they fight over some tasty morsel. A commotion draws your attention away from the beauty of the landscape, where further up the shore you see a raucous band of humans quarreling with each other. As you approach, you see that they are a primitive bunch, dressed in animal skins, ornamented with claws, feathers, and bones. Their skin is very tan from the long days spent in the sun. You realize that you are witnessing a very early stage in humanity's development at the mouth of the Fertile Crescent. The humans appear to be fishing and gathering shellfish for food. Small children splash playfully at the water's edge, while a group of women on the beach use sharpened clamshells to cut pieces of fish into strips to be dried in the sun. The men are scattered farther out in the water and on the shore. One man who has impaled a large fish with a wooden spear is arguing loudly with another man in apparent disagreement over possession of the prize. A shoving match ensues as other men arrive to take sides. A shout of fear suddenly goes up and the entire group stops to focus on the possible source of danger to the tribe. The men who had been fishing in deeper water scurry ashore to avoid a large, dark, sinewy shape that slices shark-like toward the land. In a panic, the women drop their tools and grab their small children, scooping them up out of the shallow water and retreating to safety of dry land. Once out of the water, the men regain their courage and stand at the shoreline with raised spears, ready to defend their tribe. The source of the disturbance soon presents itself. The body of a large fish. Its skin shimmering with iridescent scales swims towards the group. About 20 feet from shore, the fish stops and stands erect like a human being. Beneath the underside of the fish, you see the body of man joined to the creature. A serene bearded man face is just below the fish's head. His arms and feet are joined to the fish's tail. The figure raises its arms in a gesture of peace, and immediately you notice a change in the attitude of the human tribe. The men pull back their spears and kneel in the sand before the figure, who they seem to be instinctively able to recognize him as God. Wanus, the Babylonian god of wisdom and light, speaks in an ancient tongue that is not familiar to you. Yet you seem to understand the meaning behind his words as he describes the generation of mankind. Wanus speaks. There was a time in which there existed nothing but darkness, an abyss of the waters, wherein resided the most hideous creatures, which were of a twofold principle. These monstrous composite beings were presided over by Taloth, the dragon, the moon. Baal came out and cut the woman creature asunder, and out of one half he formed the earth, and the other half he formed the heavens. At the same time, he destroyed the animals in the abyss. Baal divided the darkness, separated the heavens from the earth, and reduced the universe to order. But the monstrous animals, not being able to bear the prevalence of light, died. The god Baal, seeing a vast space uninhabited, cut off his own head and mixed his blood with the soil of the earth. From the blood of God mixed with the fruitful earth, other animals and men were born who were capable of bearing the light. Baal also formed the stars, the sun and moon, and the planets. You listen, mesmerized by the tales told by Juanes. You have a vision of what is to follow, this meeting between the sea god and the ancient people of Mesopotamia. In your mind's eye, you see the inhabitants of the Fertile Crescent building elaborate temples and stepped pyramids for the worship of the high gods. You see humans endeavoring to communicate the divine by involving all the physical senses through art, poetry, eroticism, and dance. You see Babylonian priests in richly ornate robes and headdresses invoking and chanting themselves into meditative trances surrounded by magnificent sculptures of deities and billowing clouds of incense. All manner of food, gemstones, and precious metals are brought to the temple as offerings. Some worshipers shave their heads and fast for several days in supplication to the gods. Others perform a sensual dance, working themselves to the point of physical exhaustion and falling to the ground in spiritual ecstasy. They push their bodies to the limit in their quest for divine blessings. Then the vision disappears and you are on the beach once more, facing the god, Juanes. For the rest of the day, Juanes instructs the primitive humans on the beach, teaching them many things that will advance their understanding and improves their lives. He teaches them agriculture. He gives them insight into letters, writing, arts, and sciences. He teaches them how to build houses, construct temples, create laws. He explains mathematics and geometry. He prophesizes about the future. To those humans who venture to approach him, he grants psychic abilities. He now appears to notice you. He beckons you over. And humbly you go to him. Acknowledging that he may have something you need to know. Some wisdom he can only impart to you. Knowing that he may be a god, but so are you. You share that in common. There are things that he knows that you do not. Or perhaps you do know them already, but they have not came to the front of your consciousness just yet. You have not welled up through the deep subconscious waters or from the high superconscious impressions. Share time with oneness. Ask for instruction. Ask for guidance. At the end of the day, when the sun begins to set, the God Oneness finishes transmitting this knowledge. Turning, he quietly slips back under the dark waters. The humans on the beach, as well as yourself, are transformed by this experience with oneness. A new light seems to shine between our eyes. They gather up their food and their possessions and head inland for the night. In the light of the morning and the dawn of civilization, they will have much to do, as well as you. Soon the night sky is on you. Now the luminary of the moon shines full and bright over the dark waters of the Gulf. Its contorted image is reflected on the water's surface. Your path is clearly visible in the moonlight. You walk away from the beach toward a sandy incline. Soon, you are well inland. The landscape, as well as the feel of the path, has changed as we became more hostile and foreboding. The land is now rocky and mountainous, with stunted trees growing on either side of the road. The mood has changed. Off in the distance, a dog bays at the full moon, which hangs in the night sky like a yellow dinner plate against an indigo tablecloth. Somewhere in the underbrush, a bird is surprised by a small predator. Its startled cry is quickly silenced in the dark. The wind picks up with a howl that rustles through the trees and whips your hair into your eyes. You continue down this dark and eerie path, wondering what to expect. The moonlight shining through the trees casts monstrous shadows across the road. Ahead, you see the outline of a small human figure. As you approach that figure, you see that it is a handsome child. slight of build with large, soulful eyes that beg for kindness. I'm lost, the child tells you tearfully. Can you take me home? Protectively, you take the child's small hand in your own and continue down the path. This dark forest is no place for a small child. You are determined to defend the way from all possible dangers along this trail. The shadows cast by the trees seem ever more solid and menacing. Your limbs seem to grow heavy. Every step makes you physically tired. Your body wants to rest, to sleep. Soon you are exhausted, but you press onward. At length you come to crossroads. A wooden sign marks two roads with symbols. The road to the left is indicated by the image of a dog, while the one on the right is marked with the image of a fawn. The road that leads straight ahead is unmarked. The child tugs at your sleeve and points to the road that leads to the left. This way, the child indicates. My home is just down this road. Wearily, you begin down the path, but with every step, your feet feel like lead. You move slower and slower, as if the ground beneath your feet has turned to mud. The child becomes more insistent and pulls on your arm, scolding you for your lagging pace. The full, bright moon is gone, as if replaced by the dark, new moon. Something is wrong. The path is too dark now. The child looks at you with cold, inhuman eyes. Suddenly, you shove the child away from you. The small figure falls to the ground and transforms itself into a snarling black dog with burning red eyes. The demon before you is one of the Impulse, the children of Hecate, the feared goddess of the dark moon. Gathering you strength, you hold up the symbol of Pisces and command the demon to leave you. In the name of Hail, Hail. In the permutation of the holy name, Hey, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Hey, Hey, Yod, Vav. Hey, hey, oh. And in the power of Oneness, the wise, and Baal, the slayer of the dragon, leave this place. The demon dog flees, shrieking into the night. Painfully, you turn back the way you came. It feels like your legs will collapse beneath you, but you force yourself onward, far past the limitations of what you assumed your physical body could endure. Sheer willpower replaces the strength in your tired muscles. As you near the crossroads, your strength seems to return with every step. You realize how lucky you are to have escaped the deception of the demon and the enchantments of the dark path. In the center of the road, you stop. You are revitalized by your victory over illusion. Looking up, you see the lustrous full moon. The goddess Selene has vanquished the dark moon. The bright goddess Selene has returned to illuminate your path. This time you take the middle road marked by the symbol of the fish. The shadows decrease as you continue down the path of Qoph. The sky begins to lighten as morning returns. Songbirds announce the beginning of another day. They seem to rejoice in having survived the night once more. Ahead, near the side of the road, is a large tree with symbols carved into it. As you get closer, you see that the figures engraved into the bark include an equal-armed cross, the symbol of a fish formed from a vesica, and the word ichthys, written in Greek. It is the protective symbol of a certain Greek mystery religion, a protective talisman left by a previous traveler on the path of Qoph. The path leaves the woods behind and seems to veer once more towards the beach. The warm sand feels good under your sandals. You find yourself walking along the waters of the ancient Persian Gulf. Returning the way you came, you wonder how the primitive humans have fared since you last saw them. You don't have a long wait for an answer. You see them on a hillside overlooking the beach. They are working, constructing reed huts for shelter, using wooden-handled tools for planting and cultivating and casting fishing nets into the waters. They have been busy putting Juana's teachings to use. Will you? Take the knowledge that you've received, put it to use. Always move forward. If you find you're on the wrong path, back up. Go to the correct one. Try again. Your journey on the path of Qoph is at an end. You walk along the shoreline until you arrive at the entrance of the temple of Malkuth. Entering there, you take a few moments to warm yourself by the hearth as Sandalphon seals the portal of Qoph. After standing before the altar flame for a few moments of silent meditation, you now salute the archangel with the sign of the Emperor, and she answers with the sign of silence. You leave the temple of Malkuth behind you and re-enter the physical realm of waking reality. Now, in a few moments, allow yourself to kind of move around, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Try to come back, do a couple of stretches. Smell, see, feel, listen, touch. Engage every sense to come back into this world. We're going to do one more Kabbalistic cross, one more Apopantos Kakadamenos, while we're still in a slightly altered state of consciousness. Begin to visualize above your head that sphere of bright light of your highest self, the God within you, the God above you, God that is within us all, linking us all together, reaching into that light, Bringing some of it down directly into our physical form. Vibrate Ata. Ata. Let that light descend to your chest and vibrate Aiwas. Aiwas. Let that light descend down into your feet and vibrate Melku. Melku. Let that light travel to your right shoulder and touch your right shoulder and vibrate Vegebura. Vegebura. Let that light come across to your left shoulder and touch your left shoulder and vibrate Vegebura. Vegebura. Now consolidating that energy when you clasp your fingers together and vibrate Leolam Almen. Leolam Almen. Now again, giving the sign of silence. Take a couple of breaths here. Allowing that energy to pulsate through the body. Ready to be directed. One more deep inhalation. Focus that energy to the tip of your finger and yell, Apopantos kakadaimenos. Apopantos kakadaimenos. Now gather yourself again with another sign of silence. Sealing that energy. Knowing your space, your realm is clean. Most importantly, your mind is free. And then that's about it, folks, for today. I enjoyed it once again. Super cool for an experience like this. The next path working we'll be doing, we'll be linking Yesod to Netzach. And traditionally, that would have been Sadi, and it would have been the star card, but we are working in a thelemic form, and this will be the Emperor and Sadi. We will, that's the twist that we got from the Book of the Law, and then lots of thought after that, after he was given the instruction of that Zadi is not, many of the letters, or all of the letters in my book are right, but Zadi is not the star. And so after long, we'll talk about that more next in 2 weeks, how about, but no, that's what we're going to be doing. It will be Zadi, and it will be utilizing the Emperor key. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to share about their experience?
I can stop the recording and then we can.
Oh, okay.
We can go.
Thank you for a great class, Dan.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.